This video is supposed to be the video of the encounter in the hotel lobby with Sean P. Diddy Combs and Cassie as Cassie was trying to leave. And we have seen clips of this video before. Diddy's team had said that no one has seen the full video so they could form a unbiased opinion, not trying to excuse that he had put hands on Cassie. However, the video was much longer. Well, the feds have now released what is supposed to be the full video. So he throws her to the ground and he kicks her in her butt. And then he picks her bag up and he kicks her in her butt again. And then he drags her by her dress or coat or her hoodie. And then he lets go and he walks away. As you're watching this video, I want you to pay attention because although they said that they have released the full video and the video is supposed to be 15 minutes long, I've watched the complete video and I found out that this video, the actual video, was probably about 6.5, 7 minutes long, and they just looped it and showed it from a different angle. So there you can see Diddy and her arguing. She's trying to leave, like she said in her testimony, which we will talk about when we go live again, because Cassie just explained what happened in this video. They had just finished a freak off, one of those freak off sessions that had lasted days. She was exhausted. She had a huge event that was coming up, which she described as something, the biggest thing she had ever done so far. And she was telling Diddy that she doesn't want to stay at the hotel. She wants to go so she can rest up and so she can get her beauty rest so she looks good for the event. And also they had began fighting because there was a lot of cocaine and alcohol and all that involved over the weekend with the freak off. And then they started arguing and she didn't want to get bruised up. Oftentimes she said she would get punched and she would end up with a black eye or something like that. And then she wouldn't be able to be her best at this event that's coming up. So she wanted to preserve herself for the event. So what we're seeing, as she described it in court, was her trying to leave. This is after the freak off. This is not him trying to keep her so she can do a freak off. They already did the freak off. She was asked in court, well, why'd you do it? She said because she wanted to go to this event. And she knew that when he's at his happiest, she gets what she wants. So this would make him happy. So she did the freak off. And in doing the freak off, she was expecting to be able to go to the event for herself. Well, it didn't work out that way, or it did work out that way. It turned violent. They started arguing and fighting. And it ended up with her wanting to leave anyways. So you see her in the video running down the hallway as she's trying to leave. The thing about this video is there are other people there. And it's not just the 30-second clip or 20-second clip for the other video that you see. So here she is leaving again. And this is the second time she's leaving, right? And you can see the hallway is empty, but then you'll see somebody else comes into frame. And there are cleaning people there, and there's who looks like a manager or a security guard. Here he comes running again down the hallway. It's just from different angles. It's not that long. So while you're watching this, I'll tell you this. The official video was released completely silent, no audio. So we will have to guess what they were arguing about, right? And I don't know. Make up your own storyline as to what it is. I didn't want you to watch it completely silent, though, so I'm speaking over it as it is playing. To my audience who tunes in the morning time for Morning Thoughts, it's Thursday. I'll take today off. Tomorrow, we'll go live where we will discuss this. That means you will have a whole day to to watch this repeatedly, form your own opinion, and then get back to morning thoughts on Friday, where it gets festive, where we can discuss what you saw in the video, what they call the full version of the video. I don't see any more punching and kicking, except for when he grabbed the bag. And I'm not trying to excuse it. I don't think he should have touched her, not even once, as far as punching or kicking. But there were no punches. It was actually a kick. He kicked her in her butt. He dragged her by her hoodie. He grabbed the bags. And that's all that's seen on video. It's still bad. And it's going to be perceived as bad. You know, everybody is going to jump on the bandwagon and say, don't you ever put your hands on a woman. A man should never, ever hit a woman, never touch a woman. That's what everybody says, right? Right. Well, you know, we still can't see everything that was happening. If you notice throughout the video, Diddy keeps on ducking into different doors and going in and out of frame. Like right here, for instance, if you see him duck into a frame, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes right there. You don't know what's happening inside of that other room that he's in, kind of thing, right? Right. And of course, you can obviously see that there is conversation going on, arguing, talking, back and forth, like he's saying stuff and she's saying stuff back, that kind of stuff. I'm watching the video just like you're watching the video. Form your opinion. I'm not here to tell you what to think. You can think what you think. As far as his case goes, though, and this being played in court, I kind of want to save most of what I want to say about all that until tomorrow. So today what I will do is I will sit and I will actually type out word for word everything that she testified, because although there were no video cameras in the courtroom, they had sketch artists in the courtroom, and they also had people who have the audio. So they have written out, typed out what was said, word for word, verbatim, in the courtroom. So we have a good idea of what happened or what was said in the courtroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer that into one piece of paper where I can read it for my audience in the morning when we go live. And then we'll make our opinions known, I guess, when that happens. I'll say this. What we are seeing from this video is Cassie and her man having an argument, having a fight. This does not look like sex trafficking. It does not look like racketeering. It does not look like what the prosecution is trying to charge Diddy with. So if this is the best that they have, and this is the video that they're hinging their whole case on, their federal case on, the most you can get out of this is domestic violence. And domestic violence is not a federal thing. Domestic violence is dealt with in your local court at a lower level, right? Right. And not to mention, Cassie already skated off with her millions of dollars, which we will talk about tomorrow as well when we go live. So, in essence, that case was already settled. And I don't see him doing anything here in this video that amounts to criminality, to where he would be tried by the feds and given a life sentence in prison. There was a lot of hype around Diddy spending the rest of his life in prison, and the case is so solid and airtight, and they have so many witnesses, and they have so much evidence. Well, we're still waiting for that. In parts of this video, you will see other people come into frame, like the cleaning people. As Diddy is walking up and down the hallway, as you can see, Cassie actually ended up leaving. By Cassie's account of this, she ended up leaving when Diddy fell asleep. But you can tell by the video he wasn't asleep. So even her story in the papers that she filed in court, because you got to remember, right? She said out of her own mouth, they were all high and drunk and on drugs. When you're inebriated, your version of a story might not be the reality version of the story. So she said he went back to the room, dragged her back to the room, broke the vase, laid on the bed. He fell asleep. And this time, he fell asleep long enough for her to leave without him noticing she was leaving. And he didn't get up to stop her again. Watching this video right here, you can see that he was not asleep. You saw the guy, the security looking dude, walk her down the hallway or walk down the hallway behind her after he went and had a conversation with Diddy. He was probably saying, hey man, you're a popular person. You don't want this to get out in the public, especially domestic violence. It's not going to look good for you. Mr. Combs, you should know this. There goes Diddy right here as the guy goes into the room, right? Coming back down the hallway. And he probably thought about it, and you saw Cassie walk out of the room right in front of him and leaves. So they're probably convincing him, like, just let her go, man. Leave her and let her go, right? She leaves. She leaves. And by her account, though, it tells a different story. She said he was completely asleep, and she snuck out. She left. And he wasn't able to stop her because he was so high and so drunk. He couldn't get up to stop her. And we see on video that that's not how that tale of events went. Not trying to discredit her or anything. I'm just pointing out the obvious so everybody can see, right? Here comes the cleaning people up and down the hallway at the same time while Diddy is still only in a towel wrapped around his waist. They obviously see him. He obviously sees them. They're doing their job and he's going about his business. This looks like a domestic violence fight to me. This looked like a fight where it wasn't. Honestly, because I don't want somebody to mistake it as, oh, he's minimizing what Diddy did to her. I'm not minimizing what he did to her. I'm just saying this looked like a man and his woman had a bad day. And now if you look at this, the later version, this is just another angle of the same footage they showed from before. And you'll see him, Cassie goes through the door, and soon you'll see there goes Diddy come running behind her again. Just a different angle of the same thing, right? I don't know. And then he drags her back in, obviously, and then stops right there at the door and leaves her right there. It was kind of like, I'm leaving. And it's kind of like, get your ass back in the room. No, you're not going, kind of thing. Whether it's wrong or it's right, that's what happened, right? There isn't much more that I can say about this video. If that's the whole encounter, then all that did was give us a chance to look at it better, because everybody in their mind came up with the rest of the story because they couldn't see the rest of the story. So they're like, oh my God, they showed us a 20-30-second clip of him dragging her and she fell to the ground and he kicked her. I bet they kept the rest of it and they're going to show it in court where he's punching her to sleep and beating her up and all this other stuff. And we can obviously see that none of that happened. Look, he's doing the same thing again. So obviously this is just from a different angle, right? All they did was loop the video over and over. That's it. Anyways, like I said before, I didn't want you to watch the video silently like I had to watch it. And if you don't want to hear me speak, you can just mute the video and watch the video. And there goes the security walking right behind him again. So obviously that was the first clip, our first set of clips from the other half of the video. And then if Cassie went through that door, how did she come back from up there in the video? They spliced up the video again, okay? I guess they took it from different cameras, different angles, and just put it together and just put it out. And there she goes, going through the same door, looking the same way again, right? Again, this video was said to be released by the feds. It's funny that Cassie's last day of testimony in court is when they choose to release what they call the full version of that video. Interesting. Anyways, I'll catch you tomorrow morning when we go live on Morning Thoughts. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.